When Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance was released in 2013, it was considered a spin-off to the main iconic and revolutionary Metal Gear Solid series that Hideo Kojima worked on for decades. However, due to the circumstances surrounding the game at its time of release, it divided fans of the Metal Gear Solid franchise. But in the years or decades since its release, it has been re-evaluated as an underrated gaming experience. But the speculative scenario is this: the debated status of Revengeance to Kojima's Metal Gear Solid canon. After Guns of the Patriots was released, Hideo Kojima originally had plans to make a Metal Gear style game set during the Second World War, focusing on the boss on the Cobra unit from Snake Eater. As from information now known, Kojima had plenty of ideas for the said project, and it would have expanded the lore of the Metal Gear series greatly. However, the team that would have been in charge of the project wasn't experienced enough, and Kojima eventually lost interest as a result, so another producer suggested making a spin-off game based on Raiden. Raiden was originally supposed to become the main character for the Metal Gear franchise after Sons of Liberty, but the notion was abandoned due to gamers not liking the idea of an installment focused on Raiden entirely, but with Snake no longer able to fight due to circumstances from Guns of the Patriots. The decision was approved for a Raiden gaming experience. The game was originally titled Metal Gear Solid Rising, and chronologically takes place a short time before Guns of the Patriots. But at this time, management at Konami began their infamous decisions with their intellectual properties, and development of Metal Gear Solid Rising was transferred to Platinum Games. Kojima's direction with the game was also reduced to that of an advisor. Gaming technology of the time was also insufficient enough to truly capture the hack and slash gaming concept that those involved with the game desired for the experience. Instead, Platinum Games did the best they could within what was possible in terms of the generation of gaming potency that they had access to. Confidence in the game's legitimacy decreased when details of the game's development were made public, and the game's title was changed to Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. The change from Metal Gear Solid Rising to Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance were that Konami Productions and those originally involved with the project wanted revenge for the failed implementations of the Metal Gear Solid Rising project. It was later interpreted that the title change for the game represented Kojima's frustrations and disappointment after the game's release. The game's premise, the characters, the story, and the dynamics divided those who played it, and there were equal amounts of gamers who enjoyed the experience and those who were neutral or disappointed with their experience. Regardless of official stance by Konami, opinions on the game in status to being canon or non-canon to Kojima's Metal Gear Solid timeline had it being non-canonical. The arguments were the tumultuous development, lack of any experienced Kojima Productions officials, lack of serious involvement from Hideo Kojima himself, Platinum Games' changes to the original vision for the game, unpopular opinions with the game's experience once released. Semi-official positions from Konami Productions had it that the game was non-canon due to the mixed perceptions from the game at that time. Hideo Kojima and the veteran staff that worked alongside him on the original Metal Gear Solid games always wanted to do a separate game that expanded upon the story and lore of the Metal Gear Solid universe, but was unable to as a result of popular opinions by gamers, lack of support from Konami, or gaming technology of the time that could truly bring to life the creative visions which were the basis for a spin-off canon Metal Gear Solid game of that particular era. Despite Kojima not being fully involved with the game, he always hoped that Revengeance would help to expand the Metal Gear Solid lore that he had created, and to give gamers a new interpretation of it. In the years and decades since Revengeance's original release, opinions of it are now an underrated gaming experience, and at the time a bold vision to reimagine the Metal Gear franchise. It was considered the first spin-off or remake, and from semi-official statements are at times considered official by Konami.